So today I thought that I should show you how I'm going to transplant the lavender cuttings that we had taken a couple of months ago. To be really precise, I took them on the 4th of July 2021, and now some of them have taken roots. So I just want to show you how this looks like. So I watered them in. So this, for example, I'm pretty sure that these two ones have taken root. This one is not. So I'm just going to go behind, give it a little bit of a tap to take it out of the pot, and as you see, they have formed roots. Just want to show you. So if you look at the bottom, so you see these are the little roots that are coming out. Now I would have let them be in the pot a little bit longer for them to become much more stronger, but I won't be here in the next couple of weeks, so that is why I need to get them into the ground. So very carefully going to take this apart. So as you see, this one already has like small little tiny roots. So I'm going to dig a nice hole. This soil is pretty nice, and just pop that in, firm it in, make sure that I keep watering it. So this one, and they will all grow into little baby plants. So this one also has a really nice root system. So pop that in, firm it in, and that should work. So this one, I think I'm going to give it a try anyway, because this has some root system, although I don't see any growth on the top, but you never know. Give it a shot. So I'll put that in as well, and this one is probably the one that has developed maximum root, and I'm trying not to disturb any of the root. You see, this one has a really long root system, so this is going to be really great. So I'm going to make a really nice hole for this baby, and just put it in, firm it in. So there you go. So now, and water it in, of course, that's very important. And in no time, we'll have 4 beautiful lavender plants that can go out in the garden. And now the same principle, I'm going to use the same thing for the rosemary as well. So I had 4 rosemaries that I had put the same time that I had done the lavender cuttings. So put the hand, so try to, what I'm trying to do is to have as little root disturbance as possible. So somehow just trying to fit it in so I don't really disturb them. Turn it around, give it a tap, so it all comes out, and you see, that's where the root system is. So I can take this off, make a hole, really nice one, put that in, firm it in, and that should take root. Now this one, nothing happened to this. You see, there is no root core, although there is something coming out here. I'm just going to give it a shot. It may or may not work, but that's okay. The other two, I want to show you some carefully. Oh yes, there is something. There is a very small chance that this might work. So put that in. I'm going to do the same thing with this as well. So it seems like I had more success with the lavender than with the rosemary. And maybe it's because of the cuttings that I took. Maybe the cuttings were really not the most optimal cuttings. Maybe I just need to be more careful about the cuttings that I take. But as of now, I think the lavender has more success than the rosemary. plants that I had planted out are right behind me. So the lavender cuttings and the rosemary cuttings, the ones that I took in mid-July, and I showed you, right? So I took them out of the pot, and they had little root systems, and now put them in, and mainly because they now need to go into a bigger pot so they can have more space to grow, and also more nutrients in the soil. That's going to help them establish their root system before I dig up each of these plants. So once I have a little bit of a clump, then I can take them out and then put them in the garden. So that way, you know, from cuttings from small plants, you can actually get many more plants. Now, while I was doing that, and this is something that's true with almost every job that I have in the garden, is that every time I either take a cutting and then it takes roots, or you put a seed in, that is probably the most evident of it all. And every time a new plant or a new shoot or something is happening, it's almost like, of course, my rational part and my scientific part can explain the cellular activities that's happening, and yet I feel like a little child, because this is magic. It feels like magic. It feels like something wonderful is happening, and it actually is magic if we can see everything through the eyes of a child and see everything as being wondrous, and not try to explain everything with the help of all the knowledge and all the education that we have, and instead try to see things as being a part of this beautiful world where we are a part too. And it fills me up with so much of joy. It's unbelievable. I was so happy to see these little tiny roots and the white roots that the lavender had developed and the rosemary had developed. It really made me think how wonderful it is, how every instance we are actually surrounded by something magical, something maybe not always superbly grand, but yet in the cosmic sense it is grand. But perhaps it is us who don't see it or who don't acknowledge it, because it's always there, it's always around us, every little thing, because it is a sign, right? It is a sign of our life, it's a sign of our universe, it's a sign that we are a part of it, that yes, this is life, this is what it is about. It's about growth, it's about expansion, and I think that the garden reminds me constantly of that. So every time I'm outside, and it's not just the garden, of course, it's every time I'm outside in nature, at the sea or in the mountains or in the forest, and I'm constantly reminded of that. And this is so wonderful, all that we have to do. And this is what I realize, is that the reminder is there all the time. It's I who am not receptive to it all the time. And so if I can remind myself constantly that please listen to what the message is, listen to what this has to tell you, listen to what is being, the song that's being sung. And once we can tune our inner ear and our inner knowing to that, then I think that's when we start really seeing the wonderful effect, the wonder, the magic, something that we would call magical, happening and unfolding. And not only does this happen outside, it's happening within us as well, all the time. All that we have to do is tune in, lean back, listen. These lessons that I'm learning constantly, and I'm so grateful that I could do this, is not just from the garden, of course. It comes through a regular practice of yoga as well. So it always teaches me to always listen to my, at that point of time when I'm doing yoga asanas on the mat, listen to my body. Now I do an at-home practice, so I really don't go to a studio or have a live teacher, mainly because it's a logistic issue, number one, and number two, I haven't found a teacher here as yet who is attuned with the kind of yoga that I need, or at that point of time what I need, because not every teacher is for everyone. And so right now I just prefer to do the at-home practice. And there is an added challenge to this as well, which is really not just the fact that you are not prompted to always listen, because if you go to class and if you're in a if you're with other people, then each other can support you, and you can be held accountable, or you can ask a friend, or the teacher is accountable for you and is going to make sure that you do the practice, that you remain in the practice. But the at-home practice always challenges you, because the only I wouldn't say impediment, but I am using that word, but I think you know what I mean, on the way is you. So I find that quite challenging, because there are just so many excuses one can have for not doing it, so many reasons why one can just give up, so many because all that you can do is just not roll out your mat and not do your practice. But every time I do that, and every time, and of course there are of course days when I don't and I skip it, but when I do, which I try to do almost on a daily basis, and that's when I realize that the thing that I'm actually learning is to listen. The thing that I'm actually learning is to tune the ear, not the outer, but the inner ear. I don't even know where to point for that. But yeah, so just to lean in and to start listening to that life that's coursing through the body, through that wonderful experience that we are having as human beings on this planet. And there is so much beauty and so much love and so much positivity and so much of life that's happening around us, that it's our mandate. It's our mandate to appreciate this. It's our mandate to be responsible for it. It's our mandate to take care of it. And as we do, we'll see that this community that we always look for, and the kind of support system that we always want, where we are basically leaning on someone else, or on a society, or on people, that disappears, because it's all within us. It is we can be responsible for ourselves, and we can see the wonder within ourselves, and we can be happily content with ourselves. So many big words. such a big message. I'm sorry I'm bombarding you with this, but I hope it's going to be of use to one or the other. So feel free to share this with somebody you think might need this message at this point of time, and to write in the comments box below what you thought, and what your thoughts are on this, and I hope to catch you soon. Okay, bye bye.